Hey everyone, so I just wanted to make a quick video today, kind of springboarding off of something that Richard Friend posted a few days ago, and that's he had found some Staples branded poster board while looking for some oversized paper, and he found that it was actually pretty usable to work on and do some nice professional level work on. So I had the idea to okay, well, I'm pretty sure Staples and Office Depot and Office Max kind of source from the same place, and let's see if we can find something, because I personally prefer to use Strathmore Plate 500, which is super smooth but also pretty dang expensive. It's roughly $1 plus per 11 by 17 sheet, and while I'm more than happy to use Strathmore 300, it's pretty hit and miss lately with its quality, and I was just kind of looking for something that might be a little bit cheaper and a little less difficult to work with than just some cheaper, I won't name names or brands, Canson, cheaper alternatives here. So right here, what I have is the Office Depot white poster board, obviously, and funnily enough, I bought this from Office Max. But here in the States, at least, they're one company now, I believe, so it really doesn't matter. 14 by 22 inches. I was looking for the 22 by 28 that Richard had, but they were out. But this is fine as well. It says ultra smooth surface. Initial looks at it, it looked pretty smooth. It has a bit of a light vellum touch to it. I wouldn't necessarily call it ultra smooth, but smooth enough. I'm not a huge fan of really, rough paper and all that, though some people may be. So, it's fine. It's decent enough. Used with adhesive paint, ink, and marker materials. So I did a bunch of tests with inks. Nothing with paint per se, or markers yet, but right now I have a whole bunch of ink tests we're going to go through and see what came out of that. It says UV resistant and water resistant. So this does not say acid free in the slightest. UV resistant does not mean acid free by any stretch of the imagination. So I really doubt that this is super archival. When I found this package, it was covering a little bit of dust. I don't know how long it had been sitting there, but judging from the fact that Office Depot and Office Max, I think, merged a few years ago, and this was in their stock. I imagine it's probably been there for a bit. It doesn't look like it's had any signs of aging or yellowing or anything like that. And ultimately, what I feel this stuff is best for, I don't think that's really going to matter. It says distributed by Swinton Avenue Trading. I checked out their website. I can't tell anything about any further quality of this board. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if Staples brand that Richard was using is sourced from the same place or very similar. So yeah, I got 8 count, 14 by 22. I think all in all I paid around $5 with tax for this, so not too bad. So let's get on to the test. Okay. Being the typical comic artist guy, I have way too many pens and brushes and things like that because I want to try everything. So first I'm going to try some pencil tests. So here we go with standard 0.5mm mechanical pencil. It worked fine, no real issues. I tried smearing each of these examples, and I had to put a decent amount of pressure into each of them, so nothing excessively smeary or anything like that. They all handled pressure pretty well. I got a 2H here that held up pretty good, a standard number 2, and this right here is my lead holder with, I believe, Stedler, a Stedler lead, but I don't know for sure. I think it's a B lead. It's a pretty soft lead. I tend to trend towards the softer leads, so that's why I think that there. But let's get down to what, the inking and all that. So, okay, we have the Kuretake brush pen, the Zebra brush pen, and the Pilot refillable brush pen. First off, Now these held up pretty well. The pens I were using were used. They weren't new out of the package, so I wasn't expecting super clean results. I do ink a little heavy-handed as well, so with vellum and all that, I kind of notice I'll get some skipping and stuff like that with how I lay things down if the pen's been in use for a little bit. But overall, the ink coverage is okay. I wouldn't really, think it's amazing or anything, but nothing terrible. The Pilot pen, it bled a lot. Let's see if I can get a little bit closer here. There's not excessive, but it was a lot more than I expected. There's a lot of bleeding there, and I was going pretty light at some points. But overall, it's okay if you can deal with it. I imagine if you're using a dry brush, this would be pretty nice to use. But yeah, I laid it in pretty thick. The black, that's okay, but that's more the ink than the paper's fault. And then down here, I don't have the name of it on there, but I used this thing. It's refillable with, I believe, whatever ink you have. I tried to look up where I bought it from and I couldn't find it, but if you know, let me know if you recognize what this is, because I do like this pen. It's just I couldn't find the name or the brand of it, and unfortunately I can't read the writing there. So, but yeah, that was pretty good. We had a little bit of bleed, but nothing to really care about, to be honest. And then here I used a Pentel water brush pen, one of these guys here, that I use for ink washes. So it's just an empty cylinder here. You put your preferred ink in there and you dilute it however you want. Usually it's for watercolors and all that, but I like using it for ink washes. And I loaded this up pretty good on the bottom here, and on the back it's not too bad. I mean, I went pretty dang heavy on that, so I'm happy with how that handled. Though I have to change out the ink because it's got a bunch of particulate in there and it's not looking so hot. But yeah, I was pretty happy with how that went. And then we moved on to a standard brush, just a regular cheap brush that I use. I'm not really much of a full brush inker, but I tend to use it for bigger areas or anything like that. So it's just this simple, cheap little brush here, but it handled really well. I was very surprised by the results, and I'm probably going to try to experiment more with the brush on this paper. And then here I went with a nib. So this looks like garbage, and 25% of that is me, 25% of that is the nib I was using is probably due to be changed out, and then 50% is the paper. This thing tore up like nobody's business. I'm gonna try to zoom in if I can. If you can see, like right here, it's hard to tell, but it's actually casting a little bit of a shadow. The paper was just digging up like crazy. I was having a hard time keeping anything. If I went really light with my strokes, like some simple feathering like that, that'd be fine. But doing anything regarding any type of additional pressure, it's just tearing into it like it's cheap. It is cheap paper. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it for a nib unless you're just doing real simple feathering or you're really light to the touch, and I am not. So now we can move into the pens. So here I have a Copic 0.5, a Pin Pen 0.3, a Rot Ring 0.1, and a Micron 0.8. Now, the results are pretty varied. All these pens are relatively new. They haven't really been worn out too much, so I think the differing results in the quality of the lines here are more or less the inks used in the pen. My favorite results I got were from the Pin and the Micron, though those are the pens I tend to like the most anyway. The Copic was fine. The Rot Ring was okay. I like the Rot Rings a little bit, but their tips, I tear them up. They don't last very long with me. The pin pens, they're pretty durable, and then Microns, they're not as good as the pen with the durability, but I like the quality of the ink better. And the Copic, it's fine. It's right down the middle. So, but yeah, you can see with the test, everything's okay. Nothing crazy. And the only paint type test I did was right here, some white, and that is with the Posca white marker. This is what I use for my coverage. I don't use white, any jarred white ink or anything like that with any consistency. This is kind of what I use the most. So yeah, it's okay. It handled okay. I mean, no better or worse than anything else. So overall, I would say if you're just looking for a halfway decent paper to do some simple sketches, commissions on, like for example, for Free Comic Book Day this year, I'll be at a comic shop doing free sketches. I'll probably use this paper. It's not anything I'm gonna do a full-on paid commission on or anything like that, but I would pencil some pages on this, and if I'm just using pens and brushes to ink it, yeah, it'd be fine. I wouldn't put anything I'm really terribly concerned about keeping for longevity, or anything that I'm excessively worried that has to be 100% perfect. So, but yeah, overall I'd say if you're at Office Depot, Office Max, or even Staples, it's a lot cheaper than Bristol, no matter what. And any cheaper Bristol type paper that I've used, I can definitely say for the price, this is better. I would use this hands down over other brands. Like I said, I won't name names. Canson. So yeah, this is really a decent find. Again, it's the Office Max white poster board. It's just in the poster board section. Aside from that, I would say hopefully you can get it online too. I might be ordering the 22 by 28 online at some point, just because I would like to experiment doing some larger pieces and seeing how that goes. But again, overall, it's fine. And if you have no other choice to buy cheap Bristol, I would get this instead. All right, thanks for watching.